So it's May, and May can be a kind of a slow time for a lot of deer hunters. But one thing, that I would bring up in May is that's when we usually are starting most of our food plots. And a lot of people might say that, food plots aren't the backyard everyday deer hunter thing, but they really are, especially if you do them like we do them, because we don't have any decent equipment, anything really. But you don't need a lot. You don't even need to own land. We've found that if you talk to farmers, you want to put out a little plot, most of these guys have no problem with you doing it as long as you're not, seeding weeds. And you don't need a bunch of equipment. So if you don't have any equipment, we've got an old tractor, or sometimes we borrow the neighbor's tractor. If you don't have any equipment, you can get there's a bunch of no-till stuff. You can just rough the ground up, broadcast seed it. You don't have to invest a pile of time or a pile of money into a plot. You can make better plots. You can definitely make better plots with more fertilizer and, cleaning the weeds out. But there's a lot of ways you can do it on a budget that's going to help the deer there.
Definitely. And it's one of those things where money does not hurt. When you have money with a plot, it doesn't hurt at all. But there are tons of different ways that you can do it for dirt cheap.
Yeah, and a lot of people ask us with the plots, and up here in Canada, it's amazing, because in the U.S., all of our U.S. friends, everybody knows about food plots. In Canada, it's such a rare thing still. Does the food plot help us kill a deer? Probably not. We still have to set up on the deer. We kill deer right on the plot, so we kill deer, leading out to them just like an agricultural field. But what it does do is it's such a benefit to the deer in the area, and you've seen it. Like if you bring that clip of when Jason shot that G2 buck. That property, it was just a pasture. Before we set that plot up, it was just a pasture. We put that plot in. This is less than a year after we built that plot. But the benefit of that plot has just been the deer density. In a short amount of time, more deer call that place home. They're not just traveling through there, they're living there. So that was when we first started those plots. Now, years after we started those plots and have kept them up, we have way more deer per acre that live there than just in the back pasture somewhere, and that gives us a bigger chance or a better chance of having one of those deer mature and grow up to be a trophy class deer. So the benefits are definitely there. I mean, the benefits maybe aren't directly there if you think you're just going to put a plot in and you're going to slay a giant right off the plot, but for increasing that property, it's going to make a big difference.
Right. And how many years ago was that you guys put that plot in?
I think 2012 is when we started with them.
Yeah, so that's 6 years ago. So that means deer have been living on that plot. They were born and raised on that plot.
Yeah, and more of them. That was the biggest difference. Is the improvement on that property went from, the deer that were just coming through. It was just a plain half wooded pasture leading out to some agricultural fields. The ag there is about a mile away from the edge of the bush, so they don't go until late because they've got a big distance to cross. Well, now they just stop in our 10-acre alfalfa plot, and that's where they stop. So less of those deer venture out and get killed, and more of those deer have a chance to grow up.